There's absolutely no doubt to me that modesty is a controversial topic.
Let's talk about the lie we were all sold. Rebellion rule number 3. Modesty is a scam.
If modesty was about your faith, then why does a man's approval suddenly make it more valid?
God still loves me if I wear XYZ. I can still honor God and wear my sports bra. I love my Jesus and my minimal sports bra and spandex.
I've been in the Christian online space for long enough to know that every time this topic is brought up, there is a lot of defensiveness, there is blame shifting, there's accusations of legalism. People are going to get offended, and that just seems to be what happens. That being said, I think this is still a necessary conversation to have. The questions I'm asking today is modesty just a woman's thing? Has there been a double standard in modesty, and is modesty about the clothes we wear or the heart we have, or both? In today's video, I'm going to be pulling from some different perspectives that'll give us more insight into the conversations people are having around modesty. Let's dive in. But before we do that, as always, my name is Isaac David, and this is the Daily Disciple, where I equip you to follow Jesus daily. If that's something you want to be a part of, subscribe, because I'm putting out new content all the time. Thanks to everyone who's joined us on Patreon. It is a blessing to have you on there. We're just rebuilding that Patreon base, that community. This is what I do full time, so it is such a blessing to have you guys supporting my mission. I really appreciate it. Now, let's get to the video. To give you a little bit of background about me, I was raised in a Christian household, and when I was a younger teenager, I can't lie, there was definitely an amount of frustration and anger even at women, at how they would dress in culture, just out and about, because it was tempting for me. And I would feel like, I'm like, why can't they just dress more modestly? And that would be kind of the answer to my problem. Lust was a battle for me, no doubt, not just out and about, but also online as well. I can think back to those years, and definitely there was something that was telling me in the back of my brain that if only they could dress in a better way, cover up more, then it wouldn't be such an issue for me. Speaking about men specifically, I think a lot of us can resonate with this idea and this curiosity, maybe frustration at why women dress the way they do in public.
Bathing suits are so weird because how is it weird to see someone in their bra and underwear, but not swimsuits, when swimsuits literally cover less? Like, if I walk into a room and someone's in their underwear, everyone's gonna panic, rightfully so. Like, bro, what are you doing here? She's changing. And I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, I had no idea. I'll leave, I'll apologize, reevaluate my whole life, wonder if I'm gonna get in trouble for this, maybe jail time, I don't know. But at the pool, at the beach, same coverage, sometimes less coverage, definitely less fabric. Everyone's just casually eating chips and applying tanning lotion like it's suddenly normal. Tell me why I saw a bikini the other day that was basically just 2 coins and a shoelace. Totally fine, socially acceptable. You know, if she wore that in a restaurant, someone would call the police.
Now, to be fair, honestly, I think a lot of women that are watching this too, they can resonate with this question of like these skimpy bikinis that feel like they're wearing nothing. And, you know, with us men and saying that this is kind of ridiculous. Now, that frustration feels very true though. Why are women parading themselves around? Well, we kind of know why. It's for attention. But why is this normalized in our society that women are just going to wear these types of clothing or at the beach? But as I got older, honestly, I saw the other side to it. Now, this isn't to make excuses or comment on the people that are wearing practically nothing at the beach, but it's more to say that the folks in general, the women in general that grew up in the church, that were exposed to this teaching on modesty, it was heavy-handed often and targeted at the wrong things. Maybe you, like me, have heard stories of girls being singled out, of arbitrary dress codes, of girls being shamed for their bodies or for being more physically developed at younger ages because they would be a temptation to older men. There's a period of my life where I just didn't want to acknowledge this and say, no, women need to be taught about modesty because this is a real issue. And I still agree with that. But the ways about that modesty has been taught often is in a toxic way. In some cases, they've experienced teaching that's caused them to be ashamed of their bodies, of seeing their bodies as, temptation primarily. Now, to be totally real with you, this is a fear-based way of teaching. Dress modestly or you're going to be lusted after. Dress modestly or you're going to lead someone to stumble. This kind of fear teaching messes with you.
Wow, awesome.
Worship was just incredible tonight. Can we give up a hand for our
Absolutely.
worship team?
Come on, guys.
Worship is seriously one of my favorite songs. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without voice.
We're going through it again, students. Yeah.
Okay, so tonight we are going to be talking about purity. We're going to be talking about the importance of saving yourself for marriage and the importance of being modest.
That's right, ladies. Such an important topic that we're talking about tonight. So blessed to have Jezzy Beth on stage speaking about it. Now, fellas, you know what that means. We don't actually address this in church. We're going to go play dodgeball out back on the basketball courts. Let's go get after it, guys.
Okay, guys have so much fun playing dodgeball. Girls, we're going to start with the topic of how modest is definitely hottest.
So not only is there fear-based teaching, but there's teaching that's focused on the opposite sex. It's modest is hottest. So wear what's modest because that will be what's most attractive and alluring to men. Actually, don't wear that skimpy thing. Cover it up because you know what? Men will like you more if you're modest. It's a very pragmatic, still opposite sex-oriented way of teaching. Do this so you can get that. And that leads me to 3 conclusions I've drawn about modesty. The first thing is that the emphasis has been off. The emphasis up until this point, in large part, has been about how can I dress in order that men won't stumble? How can I dress so that I won't be a stumbling block to men? But I'm going to put forward that although that isn't a bad question to ask, it shouldn't be the first question that we're asking. Our goal as men and women is to glorify God with how we're dressing, how we're acting, how we're behaving, how we're thinking, to be a reflection of God in our life. So the first question that I encourage us to ask is, how can I dress in a God-honoring, dignified way? A way that says, I might be in the world, but I am not of the world, that I'm set apart for God. I think the emphasis has to be, how can I dress to honor God, and in so doing, honor my neighbor, honor my brothers, honor my sisters. Because listen to me, you can dress modestly, but you can do it for the wrong reasons. You can do it to gain male attention even still. The second observation here, it should be pretty obvious, is that men hold the blame too. Men hold the blame too. Jesus said, if you look at a woman to lust after her, you've committed adultery with her in your heart. So yeah, are women responsible for how they dress and how they present themselves? Absolutely. But you are absolutely responsible with what you do in your heart. Listen, I say this with love and compassion for you guys because I know how difficult the struggle with lust can be. I know, I've been there, but you can't let a woman's immodesty be an excuse for your lust. Because I know, I was been there. You say, well, you know what? If she wasn't wearing that, then I wouldn't be looking at her right now. If she wasn't, dressing in that way, then these thoughts wouldn't be coming to my head. It's almost as an excuse that it's okay. No, it's not, because we are held accountable for our actions and our thoughts. God calls young men to be sober-minded, to have self-control. Now, that might not be news to you, but you still feel like, Isaac, I'm struggling right now. And can I just add this? That averting your eyes isn't the primary solution to your problem. It's not just that every time you see a girl that's, scantily clad or doesn't have as much clothes on as she should, it's just about getting your eyes away all the time. Now, I'm absolutely not saying that you should linger there, but what I am saying is it needs to go deeper than just averting your eyes. Sometimes we can teach ourselves that women are something to be feared, that we need to just avert our eyes at all costs because we can't trust ourselves to be self-controlled. And listen to me, I believe we're called to flee sexual temptation, so there is a tension here, but I would like you to get to the place where you don't have to be afraid of seeing a woman in a bikini. It doesn't mean that you linger on her, but it means that if you catch a glimpse of her, or you're hanging out with your family at the beach and you see a woman in a bikini or a short skirt, that isn't going to be able to captivate you because you have self-control, because you have focus on what your mission is, what your values are, where your convictions are, and honoring God with your heart. Being able to see them not just for what they're wearing or what they're not wearing, but being able to see them as an image bearer of God. Now, I believe lust, yes, it is a sin, but it's also a signal. Now, it can flow out of sexual desire. That's definitely part of it. But there's also other roots to it as well. It's signaling in us a discontent heart. We're trying to use lust to fulfill us in some way, to give us an escape, to give us some sort of thrill, to null our depression or anxiety. Those holes we feel in us, we're looking for lust to fill. And that's honestly one of the roots of sin, is looking for lust or sin to fill something that only God can fill in us. God can give us love and wholeness and connection that we're craving. So there's repentance that needs to take place, but there's also healing. Those things always go hand in hand. The third observation about modesty is that it's not just a woman's thing. As much as we have been told again and again that, men are the visual creatures and women are not very visual, that there's definitely truth to that, absolutely. But that's not to say that women are not tempted visually. So that being the case, we as men should also be focused on how we shouldn't lead these women to stumble.
Let's talk about men and modesty, because a lot of men be finding it like so entertaining to try to, modest critique so many women and be like, oh, that's not modest, this is not modest, but they're not modest themselves. Firstly, a lot of people think that modesty is just like, oh, what I wear. No, it's a heart posture. It's how you treat people. And I feel like a lot of men, first of all, do not treat people right, particularly women, especially when it comes to this conversation. But like, a lot of men will try to be modest police, but they're not modest. Like, I've seen men who try to modest police other women, but they leave out their house with sweatpants where you can see everything that God gifted them in between their legs.
There's two parts to this in my mind. She's right in saying that we as men should focus also on our clothes and how we're presenting ourselves and what we're revealing. Honestly, it's not that hard, guys, but we don't think about it very often. And then the other piece to this is, like she says, modesty is a heart posture, which is definitely true. Us guys, we can be boastful and haughty. I think about a lot of times in sports, how boastful and prideful and full of ourselves we can become. That is not modest. We're looking to draw attention to ourselves, which is effectively what women are doing when they're dressing, immodestly. They're looking to draw attention to themselves. So whether this is a mentality thing, something in our heart, or something we need to change about the way that we're dressing, both are important here for men and women. I think the big thing that I want to communicate to you here is that when modesty is motivated out of keeping a religious code of some sort, it always ends up feeling unfair and one-sided. But modesty out of a heart to love God is actually a freeing thing, because we're not looking to get the attention of other people or get the attention of the world or look like the world. We're looking to honor God because we already have the significance, security, and love that we need in God. Truly, I'd love for you to be a part of the conversation as well. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, thank you for your trust and your time. And until next time, God bless.